Hello, this is Lacquerography, and this is my wish list for January 2025's Hella Handmade Creations. I've already gone in and made a preliminary first impressions wish list, and there are right now 15 items that are catching my eye this month. Let's dive right in and take a look at the 15 items that are grabbing my attention. This first item on my wish list is by Art as Nails, and this one is called Guilty Mothers. This one is listed as a capped pre-order, and scanning down through the description here, it says down below there is a 200 cap. What that means is that this month, this maker is committing to making 200 of these items before it's considered sold out. New to HHC, Art as Nails begins a series inspired by crime fiction, inspired by Guilty Mothers, which is a book in a series featuring Kim Stone as a lead detective and is written by Angela Marsons, a gripping and nail-biting series. To me, that actually sounds like a series that is well worth checking out. Guilty Mothers has a beautiful red jelly base packed with chameleon flakes that appear pink, gold, bronze, and green. Now we're off to such a strong start right here. This one is probably one of the top contenders in this enormous wish list right now. I am so excited to see a generous handful of brands that are new this month to Hella Handmade Creations, this being one of them. Now, Art as Nails is actually a brand that I've heard about for a long time. People are big fans of this brand, but I don't own a single polish by Art as Nails. I know that in the past they've been available through Polish Pickup. Also, I know that I can get a limited quantity of their polishes through nailstuff.ca, which is one of the amazing Canadian stockists that I have access to as a Canadian. They also ship worldwide too, so check them out. But I was so excited to see this offering this month. This to me is the perfect opportunity to give this brand a go. This red is absolutely ravishing. There is just something about the color of this base, this red jelly base, along with these chameleon flakes with all these shifts in them. This one is just speaking to me. This was an immediate add to wish list, and I can't wait for this polish to find its way home to me. This red is by Art as Nails, Guilty Mothers. This next item on my wish list is by Bee's Knees Lacquer, and this one is called Canned Peaches and Marmalade. This one is listed here as a cap pre-order, but now that I'm reading down further, I'm noticing that it actually says down here, no cap. So what that means, if it says no cap, it means that it comes with a polished lid, screw top cap and all that stuff. What that means is that at this point, there is no limit to the number of nail polish bottles of this polish that this maker can create in order to fulfill all orders this month. So for me, this is a great thing. With this one, I have the time to think it over the course of the week that this shop is open from January the 14th to January 21st, 2025, to make sure that this is really one that I'd like to have. Bee's Knees Lacquer continues their Fallout series. Canned Peaches and Marmalade is a grungy champagne with soft silver shimmer. Now, I have to admit, I'm really not going to have to think that deeply or that hard about this polish. This one is most definitely going to come home with me this month as well. I have been completely surprising myself, especially throughout this last year, in terms of the amount that I've been wearing neutral nail polishes. Neutrals, especially neutrals with a twist, neutrals with some sort of interest. What's catching my eye here is I know this is a polish that I can wear 4 seasons a year, pretty much for any type of occasion, but I'm loving the fact that this one has a little bit of a grungy edge to it. To me, this is an edgy neutral. I could get away with wearing it absolutely anywhere, but there's still that element of interest and intrigue that really only an indie brand can give. I can't say enough about the look of this really interesting grungy champagne color. It's just enough of a prugly to give something that could be safe, just something undeniably extra. This polish is by Bee's Knees Lacquer, Canned Peaches and Marmalade. This next polish up is by Cracked Polish. This one is called Twilight Tea Party. This one is a magnetic polish. This one is also listed as a capped pre-order. There are 500 of these being made available this month. So in that case, what this one means is that this maker is committing to creating 500 of these polishes before it's considered sold out. Cracked Polish continues their Down the Rabbit Hole series. Twilight Tea Party is a dark purple with blue aurora shimmers and red magnetic pigments. Now I have to say, I think that magnetics have absolutely been having a huge moment throughout 2024, and I don't see that going anywhere in 2025. It seems like since the 30-pound horseshoe magnet hit social media, it kind of went viral. Everybody seems to own one. I don't have one yet, but magnetics have just exploded, it seems. Everybody's creating them, and they are just getting better and better, it seems, with every single release. I think this one's no different. I will have to think a little bit about this polish because I have been buying quite a few magnetics lately. This one, though, I think would still be quite unique in my collection. I've been loving Cracked Polishes Down the Rabbit Hole series. There really is such a whimsy and a sense of extra creativity, I think, about this series. I've already picked up several month upon month from Cracked Polish through Hella Handmade Creations, so I am building up quite a mini collection by purchasing these offerings from Cracked in subsequent months. So that's appealing to me as well. Also, Cracked Polish, I mean, they've only been on the market for a little over a year. The quality, the creativity, the consistency of their polishes is just undeniable. Every single offering I've picked up from Cracked has been stellar. I think this one would be no different. I'm really loving how in this swatch photo here, we're seeing a cat eye effect on the two middle fingers here, the middle and ring finger on this swatcher. I can't really tell what effect we're seeing here on the outer fingers, the index and the pinky finger. Perhaps it might be just the polish straight out of the bottle, unmagnetized, or it could also be the velvet effect. I can't really be sure. Clicking into this next swatch photo here that was catching my eye, I'm loving how this blue is really coming alive. I think that this polish really could be quite a special chameleon. I'm really intrigued by this one. This magnetic is by Cracked Polish, Twilight Tea Party. This next polish up is by Danglefoot Nail Polish. This one is called Dark and Twisty. This one is a capped pre-order polish, and looking down here, I'm giggling a little bit. I cannot believe the number I'm seeing down here. This polish is listed as having a cap of 50. That means only 15 bottles of this product are going to be made available this month before it sells out. That is a very small cap, or at least it sounds to be a very small limit at this point. If I decide to get this polish when the shop opens, I will have to consider setting an alarm on January the 14th at 12:01 AM Eastern Time to be sure I can get a hold of this item. Into the description here, it says, new to HHC, Danglefoot begins with a series inspired by TV doctors, with their first polish inspired by Grey's Anatomy. Dark and Twisty is a dark inky blue with purple, fuchsia, green shimmer, and silver hollow flakes. So there's so much to say about this polish as well, and I'll try to keep it as brief as I can. First of all, new to HHC, Danglefoot. I cannot be more excited again. This just reinforces why I keep purchasing from Hella Handmade Creations. As a Canadian, it really adds up making all these outside of Canada purchases, especially the United States, but really to anywhere. Having all these brands that I'm so drawn to at my fingertips here through this website, it makes it all worth it. It allows me to pay for shipping once for whatever size box they end up sending me with all these purchases. And it does, in a weird way, end up cutting down on some shipping costs for me by purchasing several items that I like. So I could not be more excited to see Danglefoot as another one of these brands that I've been following kind of from a distance being offered here through Hella Handmade Creations. I really own very few Danglefoot polishes. I would say probably less than 5 at this point. All of the ones that I own are so special to me. They are of a quality really unparalleled. They exceeded expectation in every way. And the Danglefoot polishes that I've purchased have all been through polish pickup at this point. Danglefoot is also a brand that I can acquire here in Canada just in limited availability, limited offerings through the stockist nailstuff.ca. So if you are Canadian or if you're international too, they do ship internationally, do consider checking them out. But so cool to have another way to access Danglefoot polish. Now let's get into the polish itself. I love the look of this one. This deepened, dark, inky blue, this kind of navy effect, but then with this brilliant shimmer going through it. It adds such mystery and interest. I think that this is a perfect interpretation of this title, Dark and Twisty. This is a dark and twisty polish and so special looking. I think in person this would be jaw-dropping. Grey's Anatomy is a show that I haven't watched in probably about 10 years. I can't get over how long this show has been running, but I loved this show when it first came out. And in fact, this show and lines like this one, Dark and Twisty, they have kind of a special place in my heart. Back when my friends and I were first just stepping out, moving out, this was the very first series we ever binge watched at my friend's brand new house. She hosted a movie night, or in this case, it was a series night. And this wasn't through streaming. This was us before streaming was a thing. My sister happened to have seasons 1 and 2 of Grey's Anatomy on DVD. And so we were binge watching. It was the first 8 episodes, in fact, that we binged of Grey's Anatomy all in one day. Gosh, we felt gross afterwards. But we had so much fun, and we all still looked back on that day as really quite special. I mean, it was my first friend really to get a house of her own. We made dinner together, and we watched 8 straight episodes of the first season of Grey's Anatomy. Such a special memory, a great sort of throwback to that time in our friendship. And anyway, I really can't say enough about this polish, this brand, the opportunity to get this, and also the memories that this one brings back, that sentimental pull for this one. So this perfectly named polish, this one is by Danglefoot Nail Polish, Dark and Twisty. This next item up is a second Danglefoot nail polish offering. This one is called McDreamy. This one is a magnetic, and this one is a capped pre-order as well, with a shocking 40 of these being made available. That is a very tiny cap. For sure, if this one remains on my wish list and makes its way to my shopping cart, I will have to buy very early when the shop opens to be sure that I can secure this polish. New to HHC, Danglefoot begins with a series inspired by TV doctors with their first polish inspired by Grey's Anatomy. McDreamy has a brick red jelly base with gold magnetic shimmer. The fire of this one was what caught my eye. Reds are a very new love for me, and there really are quite a few jaw-dropping reds being offered this month in Hella Handmade Creations. This one just looks so fiery and special. I love the fact that this one has a gold magnetic shimmer. I think that red and gold is such a match made in heaven. This one appears to have a little bit more maybe of perhaps a subtle magnetic look. Taking a look at another swatch photo, it really just looks like it gives this polish such special dimension. I would love to try out yet another Danglefoot polish, in this case a magnetic. I don't think I own a single one that is a magnetic by Danglefoot, and I would be thrilled to give this one a try. This one is by Danglefoot Nail Polish, McDreamy. This next polish up is by Emily Damali, and this one is called Morpho. This one is another capped pre-order offering with 240 of these being made available. Emily Damali continues their Butterflies and Moths series with a polish inspired by the Morpho. Morpho is a light purple nail polish with blue Aurora shimmer and silver holographic flakes. And when I saw this one at first, I wasn't quite sure. I mean, this really is a gorgeous purple, but I probably own some purple hollow flake polishes. There's just something about this one. As I was scrolling through all the different swatch photos, there seems to be a little bit of an intrigue, a mystery. It might be due to this blue Aurora shimmer. Clicking through a few of these different swatch photos, first of all, they are all gorgeous. I find that this polish is looking stunning on every single skin tone. So right there, that's impressive. Every single swatch photo is appealing to me, but there's something in particular about this one. It just seems like there's somehow a lightness, an airiness. There's something about the quality of this one that looks like magic on the nails. I can't quite pinpoint it. It appears in several of the swatch photos, but there's something that keeps pulling me back in with this polish. Emily Damali is a brand that every single time I purchase from them, and I don't own very many, I'm always blown away with the polish in person. So this pretty purple is by Emily Damali, Morpho. This next polish up is by Jen & Barry's. I Didn't Always Work in Space. This is another magnetic polish. There's a few on this wish list. This one also is a cap pre-order with 225 being made available this month. Jen & Barry's continues their The Expanse series with a polish inspired by Amos while teaching Avasarala how to walk in mag boots. He compares it to walking in pumps. When she asks how he knows what that's like, his response was, I didn't always work in space. I Didn't Always Work in Space has a violet tinted base with intense copper gold green shifting shimmer, magnetic silver shimmer, and holographic flakes. Now, I really hope that I was pronouncing all of that correctly. I really have no context here for the inspiration for this polish, so pardon me if I was wrong. This polish really does look to me otherworldly, like something from outer space. There's something in this sort of metallic look, but it's different from that. That has been haunting me and is really drawing me in. I'm loving the fact that it's describing this as having kind of a violet tinted base. There seems to be something kind of grayed, like a gray aspect to this violet that I think is really drawing me in as well. I love how this polish seems to be shown in a variety of different ways. In the index finger here, it appears to be in cat's eye. Several of the other images as well, we're seeing many different magnetic effects. This polish is drawing me in every image. I really just love the contrasting effect with this polish. I think it's something really unique and special. I know I don't have anything quite like it. This one is by Jen & Barry's I Didn't Always Work in Space. This next polish up is by Lurid Lacquer, and this one is called Purple Eyed Shadow Daddy. This one is yet another magnetic polish, and this one is another capped pre-order with only 250 being made available this month. New to HHC, Lurid Lacquer begins a series inspired by a court of tropes and cliches, with their first polish inspired by all the morally gray, purple-eyed hotties in romantasy novels. And totally as an aside here, I've actually never read any romantasy books, so if you have any recommendations, please feel free to add them down in the comments. I'm hoping to reignite my love of reading this year. I'd love to know all your romantasy recommendations because it's a genre I've never explored before. Back to the description. Purple-Eyed Shadow Daddy features a violet base, purple to magenta to orange to gold, magnetic pigment, purple to pink to red shimmer, and purple reflective glitter. It says, please note that some swatchers are wearing the polish magnetized velvet style, and some are wearing it magnetized by a bar magnet. You're probably sensing a bit of a trend here. I am so excited to see so many new brands arriving to HHC this month. It's making it much easier for me to acquire some of these brands that I have trouble acquiring here in Canada, except sometimes for these collaboration websites. So in this case, Lurid Lacquer is offering this most vivid, gorgeous purple. I'm loving the description here and what I'm seeing with my own eyes in these swatch photos. Lots of variation with the magnetic pigment, the shimmer shift, and also with the reflective glitter. So much happening here. That base color really is to die for. I'm loving this purple that I'm seeing here. It's all at once, elegant, kind of vampy, and I think edgy as well. Now, Lurid Lacquer. Lurid Lacquer, I have been pining after. Ever since their very first release, I've been watching swatchers. I've been watching people haul these collections, these polishes on YouTube, and just pining for these polishes. Until now, I've been unable to acquire Lurid Lacquer in Canada. They were really only available through the United States, with really domestic US shipping only through the website. I am thrilled that Lurid Lacquer is now being offered through Hella Handmade Creations. Also, Lurid Lacquer is now shipping internationally. That's very recent, just through their own website. Now, I was affected at the end of 2024 by the Canada Post strike. So unfortunately, I've actually ordered through Lurid Lacquer, but my order has been held up. The strike is now off, but some packages are still held up in the system. So I cannot wait to get my first opportunity to try Lurid Lacquer when that shipment arrives, hopefully any day now. But also, I would love to try this polish too. Everything about this polish has me adding it to the wish list. This one is by Lurid Lacquer, Purple Eyed Shadow Daddy. This next polish up is by MJ Lacquer, and this one is called Petals of Love. And it has in brackets here that this one is a thermal. This one is another capped pre-order with 100 of these being made available this month. MJ Lacquer continues their Roses series. Petals of Love is described as a holographic triple thermal with purple to pink aurora shimmer. This contrasting thermal shifts through shades of Merlot Cold to a berry shade around 82 degrees and an orchid shade around 95 degrees. Transitions are dependent on an individual's body temperature. MJ Lacquer is one of those brands that I think is so highly underrated. Again, I have very few of their polishes, but every single one of them has by far exceeded any expectation I had. I love their offerings, and I've been following quite closely their Roses series. They've been really creative polishes, really cool components, and I'm loving the fact that this one is a tri-thermal. At this point, I've never tried a triple thermal or a tri-thermal. Now, I know that thermals are not always the most popular because they do tend to have a shelf life, sort of an expiration date, although I don't really consider it that. All it means, it's not that they really expire, it's just that at some point the thermal properties will die off, and at some point every thermal polish will stay stuck in one state. And you can't really predict, I don't think, what state that might be. In a case like this one, I really love all three states that we're seeing here in this triple thermal or tri-thermal. I also love how this one looks in its kind of transition state too. I think this one would be so much fun. I'm also an elementary teacher that teaches young kids. Anytime I wear a thermal polish, it invariably ends up mesmerizing the students, and we end up having like an impromptu science lesson about temperature and reactions and all those kinds of things. And it really does kind of mesmerize my students in a very magical way. It never hurts to have an impromptu science lesson. Learning is always a good thing. I would love to add this tri-thermal to my collection to give this one a try. This thermal is by MJ Lacquer, Petals of Love. This next polish up is by Nailed It, and this one is an encore offering, and this one is called Raised by Wolves. This one is a capped offering as well, with only 100 being made available. For their encore, Nailed It has chosen a polish from their Ghibli series, inspired by Princess Mononoke. Raised by Wolves has a linear hollow base with red to gold multi-chrome shimmer packed with red to gold to green crystal flakies. Now, the moment I saw this one, I added it to my wish list. This one is another one that just has so much magic to it, and I think it's quite high on my wish list as well. One of the top ranked polishes. Now, this one's an encore listing. So what happens with Hella Handmade Creations is every month lately, it seems like a few different brands, usually about 5 or so, are invited to bring back a polish from the past to resell. So what happens with these encore offerings, as far as I understand it, is that every month, Hella Handmade Creations invites, and I think it's done alphabetically, it's about 5 different makers at a time each month to offer a polish that they have previously offered. Sometimes it's a 2.0 edition if they can't quite get the same ingredients, or sometimes it's a re-release of a previous offering. So in this case, this one looks like it's a re-release of a previous offering. The moment I saw this one, every aspect of it was catching my attention. The linear hollow, really in these swatches, so many of them, you can see the rainbows coming through in these swatch photos. The multi-chrome, I don't think I have anything quite like this one with that wild linear hollow base as well as a multi-chrome effect. And not only that, there's these red to gold to green crystal flakies. Now, my eye's not quite picking the flakies up on the swatcher's nails in this image, but my eye is certainly picking them up in the bottle shot that goes along with it. I'm really impressed by the variety of components in here. There's a lot happening, and somehow it's coming together to create nail polish magic. I'm so excited that I'm getting the opportunity to get a hold of a polish that was released before I even knew about Hella Handmade Creations. I looked up this polish in Lacquergram, which is the app that I use to keep track of my collection. This polish originally came out in Hella Handmade Creations in April 2020. So that's before I realized that Hella Handmade Creations was even a thing. This was really before I knew anything about indie nail polish. So I'm so happy that I get the chance to experience this nail polish for the very first time. This one is by Nailed It. It's their encore offering, Raised by Wolves. This next polish up is by Night Owl Lacquer, and this one is called This Is Where I Thrash. Night Owl Lacquer continues their Bob's Burger series. This Is Where I Thrash is a dusky purple crelly filled with multi-chrome flakes that shift pink, bronze, gold, green. It's listed here that there is no cap for this one, so Night Owl Lacquer at this point can create as many of these polishes to fulfill all orders this month. Now, the moment I saw this one, I added it to my wish list. I believe that this is a finish that Night Owl Lacquer has been exploring quite a bit through Hella Handmade Creations and their Bob's Burger series. These multi-chrome flakes that to my eye kind of resemble fall leaves. They've had them in a few different types of bases. Now, I hesitate a little bit because I don't know if it's exactly the same type of finish, if they're considered sibling or cousin polishes, but I love the look of them. This one is no different. I've acquired several of the polishes through this series. I'm not a Bob's Burgers watcher, although I've watched a couple of episodes, but these polishes are breathtaking. This polish is another top contender on my wish list. This one is by Night Owl Lacquer. This Is Where I Thrash. This next polish up is another one by Night Owl Lacquer. This one is their encore offering this month called Prepared for Any and All Scenarios. For their encore, Night Owl Lacquer has chosen a polish from their Psych series, inspired by Season 6, Episode 11, Here's Lassie, when Sean and Gus investigate some strange happenings at Lassie's new apartment. Prepared for Any and All Scenarios is a grade blue with a strong red copper gold aurora shimmer. Again, there is no listed cap for this one. This one was another immediate add to wish list for me. I'm in such deep trouble this month in terms of favorite top polishes. I think my shopping cart might be quite full when the shop opens. As I said earlier, neutral polishes have been such a go-to for me throughout 2024, and I don't really see that changing. For me, this is everything I love about an indie neutral polish. This one's grayed out, and for me, grayed polishes, I consider them neutrals, and I tend to wear them any season of the year for any type of occasion. But this one has such a strong shimmer. I just quite frankly love it. The glow is undeniable. When I saw this one, this was an immediate add to wish list. I know nothing at this point about this inspiration, but this polish has to come home with me. Another thing with this one is that Night Owl Lacquer has chosen to bring back a polish that originally came out in December 2021. That was right before I found out about Hella Handmade Creations. So really, I'm seeing this one truly for the first time. This one for me is such a safe 4-season, all-occasion pick. Night Owl Lacquer, prepared for any and all scenarios. And I have to say, I love the name of this one too. I'd love to live by that kind of a motto, prepared for any and all scenarios. This next polish up is by Sassy Cats Lacquer, and this one is called Radio City. This one is another cat pre-order with only 100 of these being made available. Sassy Cats Lacquer continues their New York-inspired series. Radio City has a berry base with an extreme glowy orange-red shimmer. Now, about a year back, I was truly in my Sassy Cats Lacquer phase, and it was specifically for this type of a finish. It'll sound kind of weird, especially seeing that this one is such a brilliant, vibrant, berry-based polish. But there's something about Sassy Cats Lacquer polishes that come in this type of finish, a shimmer finish, where the polishes almost look like sea glass. I know, it sounds weird, right, to hear this when you're looking at a berry polish. But it's something about that quality. It's a flawless, shimmer, otherworldly type of quality. and I think nobody does it quite like Sassy Cat's lacquer. For a while, it seemed like I was buying everything in this type of shimmer finish that I could get my hands on by Sassy Cat's lacquer. So I have quite a few, but it's been nearly a year, I think, since I've purchased anything from Sassy Cats. I think this is the time that I go back to it. Something that I'm really loving about this polish is that it seems like the base and shimmer combination are either, I guess you could think of it almost tone on tone because it's both red ranging. We're talking berry and then a glowy orange red shimmer. Or also, maybe more correctly, I'd consider it like an analogous color shimmer. So we're looking at kind of a purpley red berry base along with an orangey red shimmer. So like playing up in color theory, analogous colors. I just think this one could be so show-stopping. Another ravishing red, but this one's very berry leaning. For me, this one I think might be unmissable. This one is by Sassy Cat's Lacquer, Radio City. This next polish up is by Sassy Sauce Polish, Thighs the Limit. This one is another capped offering, but this one has a little bit larger of a cap at $300. Sassy Sauce Polish continues their shoes-inspired series with a polish inspired by a pair of shimmering thigh-high boots. Thighs the Limit has a peacock green base with purple and silver reflective and a blue purple green shimmer. Now again, there's so much here that's interesting me. First of all, I'm a shoe lover, so I've been kind of keeping an eye on these offerings through Sassy Sauce Polish month upon month, but I haven't bought too many of them. I actually did buy one last month though, so I can't wait to get a hold of that. This peacock green base, I'm a green lover, and this peacock green is really lovely. And then the combination of purple and silver reflective glitter, as well as this blue purple green shimmer, there's so much happening in this polish, and the sparkle, I think, especially with the reflective component, would be out of this world. Now, as a shoe lover, I don't own a single thigh-high anything, but this polish is one that I would love to own. This one is by Sassy Sauce Polish, Thighs the Limit. This final selection on my wish list this month is by Victorian Varnish, and this one is called Enigmatic. This one is another capped pre-order with a really interesting number being made available, 197, before it's considered sold out. Victorian Varnish continues their Gothic Windows series with a polish inspired by winter nights as relating to or resembling an enigma, mysterious. Enigmatic has a purple tone base with iridescent chameleon shimmer in pinks, purples, and blues with intense bright blue silvery reflective glitter. So another magical reflective glitter polish here. Now something that always makes me take a look at Victorian Varnish is the fact that they have one of the best value bottles on the market with a 17 milliliter bottle. I love the fact that you can get a few extra milliliters for your dollar. It stretches the value a little bit better than some other brands do. This is a polish that I haven't been able to get out of my mind. There's something frosty, mysterious, something really special about it. And I think a lot of it's in these components. I love the fact that it says that it has a purple toned base. It does appear to have quite a gray aspect to it as well, but it could be because of all these components on the other hand. Iridescent chameleon shimmer in these pinks, purples, and blues. That sounds fascinating. Also, the bright blue silvery reflective glitter. I just think there's something so sparkly and frosty and wintry, and as it says, mysterious about this one. And the value here is undeniable with the 17 milliliter bottle. I have very few Victorian Varnish polishes, I think less than 5 in my collection, and this might be an opportunity to jump at it and add another one to my collection. This final selection on my wish list is by Victorian Varnish, Enigmatic. So that's it for the 15 items on my wish list this month. The shop opens for Hella Handmade Creations on the 14th of every month. So in this case, January 14th, 2024. But the catch is it opens at 12:01 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now that's pretty important for a lot of these offerings with very small availability caps. One of my polishes has only 40 items available. So if I want to get my hands on that polish, I'm going to have to consider making my purchase right when the shop opens, setting an alarm for 12:01 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Another reason why you might want to set that alarm is because Hella Handmade Creations has an overstock section. When the shop opens at 12:01 a.m. on January the 14th, Hella Handmade Creations will be re-releasing remaining overstock items from September 2024's shop. Some of these items are available in incredibly small quantities, and it's not always listed how many are available. In some cases, we're talking less than 5 of each item available. So in some cases, these can sell out in mere minutes. So if there's something that's catching your eye from the upcoming overstock section, you may want to create a wish list and also set an alarm for January 14th at 12:01 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You might have also noticed that Hella Handmade Creation has a second overstock section listed on their website, and this is the past overstock section. For these items, these are ones that have come out August 2024 and earlier. Once these items are re-released in the overstock section, they usually remain in the overstock listings until they're sold out. So what you'll see on the website are up to 69 items here is what's listed. These ones are available to purchase right now, and they should remain available until the quantity runs out and they're sold out. What you'll see here is quite a few hand and body care items, stamping plates, jewelry, pins, and of course, plenty of polish items, including here, there's a gift set. I have to admit, my eye is going right to this vibrant kind of limey yellow by Vanessa Molina. This is an encore offering called Mystery Machine, and it's currently available. Now, I can remember when this one was first offered, and I didn't pick it up, but I have to admit, now that I'm seeing it again, I can't take my eyes off of it. This is a truly unique polish, and I mean, I already have 15 on my wish list. It might be a 15 plus one now. I think I have to get out of the overstock though, because I'm getting a little out of control. So that's it for my Hella Handmade Creations wish list, which now appears to be 15 plus one from the past overstock section. Anyway, what I'm wondering is, are you planning on shopping Hella Handmade Creations this month? If you are, what items are you adding to your wish list? What are your thoughts on my wish list as well? I'd love to know your thoughts. Please feel free to add all your comments below, and we can continue on the conversation long after. If wish listing videos are something that interests you, please consider giving this video a like. It indicates to me when you give it a like that this is the type of content that you're interested in. And in the months ahead, I'll try my best to produce content similar to this as often as I can. As well, if you enjoy nail-related content in general, please consider subscribing. I release nail-related content as often as I can, and by subscribing, you won't miss out on any of the fun. Thank you so much for joining me this month. Happy shopping. Hopefully I'll see you again in the next one. Take care. Bye.